What is it about riding a bike that is so liberating? What unites us all is the craving for that special feeling. This is what inspired the developers at Garneau to create the innovative, award-winning X-Comfort technology, optimizing comfort to maximize performance and, most of all, the good feelings that make us so passionate about riding. The brand new X-Comfort Zone incorporates an elasticized zone that expands up to 5 millimeters to accommodate B through D+ foot widths. We all pedal in the same way. As you push down, your toes naturally splay. And the dynamic changes that happen inside your shoe as your feet contract and expand under pressure as you ride. The pressure and friction created as the outside of your foot expands over and over against your shoe can create serious and painful hot spots and irritations. The longer you ride, the worse it can become. This makes for a level of never-before-experienced comfort in the highest-performing cycling footwear. Every cyclist rides for that special feeling that cycling brings to us. Each one of us has our own version of what it means to enjoy the ride. We just help make it possible.
Go down the road. Alright? Don't throw your arms in the air. Don't do anything crazy. No random shit, okay?
I had my own strategy. I was actually working for you guys. So what I did at the last moment, I just pulled back. So you guys need to buy me some beers.
Esports. We love to play. Since the 1980s, video games and competitive gameplay have been part of our Western culture. The video arcade, the Atari, Nintendo, PlayStation, even PC gaming are all part of this rich cultural lineage of play.
Position where we've got folks that are going to either make or break their dreams of getting to CVR World Cup Vancouver. That's in British Columbia, by the way, not Southern Washington. Okay, time to get this thing kicked off. We got about 6 minutes left in this women's field, about 3 in the men, and here is what is going to happen for us. This is the London Loop, 2 laps of it, in fact. This is the race of truth, as it were. That's a big hill, ladies and gentlemen. Our cyclists today are going to climb that. There are going to be some that climb it fast and some that climb it sad because they let the others get away. It's a big, crazy climb up Box Hill, up into the Surrey Hills, and we're going to find lots of cool stuff. Morten Vang has done an amazing job of staying right in step, but we haven't called his name very much. Today, he looks for the opportunity to get on the top of the podium. He wants to take it in Zone E from this guy, Jeff Muse, who is at the top of that podium, and it's a big, powerful group. Jeff can climb. On the women's side, Mary Wilkinson has been chasing all week. Super strong rider. She rode when there were no helmets. But of course, she's trying to chase down Jenny Mattis, who also very high in that group. In fact, it's Wilkinson who's at the top of the group, Jenny Mattis, who's right there. Okay, about 2 minutes to go. Thank you for joining us. Say hi on all of the different social media tools. Specifically, if you're joining us on Mixer or on Facebook, say hi and let us know how you think this race is going to go. This has become one of the more traditional courses. If there are any traditional courses in virtual bike racing, this would be one. It is the London Hills, and it is crazy difficult, especially when they hit that hill. For me, it's about a 9 to an 11-minute climb. For these guys, they may do it as fast as 5, 6, 7 minutes. That's flying really, really crazy fast. So here they are all around me in the fabulous zone here. They're getting ready to kick this thing off. They're trying to keep their heart rate elevated enough. And let me just tell you who's here. Casey Shum is in the house. He has become sort of a virtual cycling superstar in a lot of ways. He is one of those guys that people just love, and they should, because he's a super strong rider. Soren Bay, his team experimental teammate, is also in that group. You've got Michael Durr from BRT, lots of other folks. Lars Peikenbrink, Kim Little, also from Team Experimental. Do I see Mike Davis in there? I think I do. He's racing out of time zone. That's what we're starting to see. These teams are coming together for big, super powerful racing. And in 50 seconds, they're going to kick this thing off. We'll tell you a little bit more about the women in just a minute. Kurt Povels just showed up to this. He is going to be a force to be reckoned with also along with this. Now, this group is really starting to codify. They know who these different folks are. We're happy to be able to bring this race to you, and especially thank our folks at Sara, Cyclops, Garneau, PowerTap, of course, all part of that same family. Of course, the Peaks Coaching Group, Hunter, that's our guy, Hunter Allen. And of course, Cyclogen, who brings all the technology to give us all this great stuff. Now, we're going to show you some cool stuff today as this thing kicks off. Now, when the gate drops, you know what happens. People pedal really fast, harder than they would at any other time. But here it goes. Dropping it big time, the laser gate comes down and the panic begins. No one wants to get left behind. Morten Vang trying to climb himself to the front. He is almost there. Morten Vang, there he is, finding that nice spot at the beginning. We called his name. Kim Little takes over the front, pushes just a little bit harder, but no one's trying to get away here. Long run up into this climb. You can definitely get left behind here. It's happened to me plenty of times, but it's definitely the way you want to go. You want to stay at the front of this group and not get caught out behind. Kim Little is, and I think Team Experimental are going to show you some amazing tactics today. Why should you watch virtual bike racing? Well, virtual bike racing is awesome, first of all, but it is unbelievably strategic. It's like chess with sweat. It's a really difficult but smart thing to do. Now, you notice that I would say that the team who has the real advantage here is every rider that has X behind their name. Those are the Team Experimental riders. They are led by that man, Kim Little, the Il Patron of this group. He is the guy who's been to the most live huge events. He's been to, of course, the Cyclogen CVR World Cup events. He's been to the Zwift sponsored e-crits in the past. He is a well-known, strong rider. Now, he is of professional quality and status, but you know what? He's got a career. He's got a family. This is how he exercises that. And you'll find that there are tons of world-class athletes who, through virtual cycling, can have it all. If you were a 22-year-old individual, you might feel great about seeing the world going out on the road. If you are a Kim, I don't want to give this away, but a 30-something rider, who has a family, but who still loves the competition, this is the type of thing that you would throw your competitive heart into. Have a job, have a family, but still do the bike racing that you like to do. Well, Kim Little and this group, well, there's our guy, Casey Shum, right now. He's got some dancing aliens. Those would be, of course, the aliens that are the mascots of Team Experimental in the background. They like to boogie. They like to dance. He's got to get clipped in there. He's got his Beats by Dre headphones on. Sorry, that's not a advertisement for Beats by Dre. But this is Casey's view. He's got his whole piece built out in a really, really clever way, right? He's got the right dynamics for us to be able to jump in. And if you want to see more of his world, you can even cheer for him over on CycleView, cycleview.cvrworldcup.com. There it is right at the top. You can search it if you want. That's the way you connect with Mr. Casey Shum. There are lots of other folks who are riding. Liam Baird is on the stream today. Rachel Ruby Zambrano, fighting her way back, is on today. There are a lot of folks, Carrie Conabear as well, that you're going to be able to connect with and see. Lots of really, really great riders out there. All right, the women have kicked this off. There she is, Styler, right at the front, leading it for Team Vixen. Stotts in this group as well, Gemma Onkers. That would be England Red. Right there. She spells it properly, the fearless rider, for us Western audiences to pronounce. But normally that E is replaced by an O with a little slash through it. That's Scandinavian. We'll get into the Scandinavian language lesson here in just a little bit. Well, it's the post-game show, CVR World Cup language learning. Okay, now there she is, Rachel Ruby Zambrano right there, making her best effort to fit it all perfectly within that fabulous one. She is a firefighter and a great one. Really, really strong rider. On her way back, she has been, in many ways, the spiritual advisor to her team throughout the process here. She's got some tats on her arm to show all the things she's done. I believe, if I'm correct, she is what we call them, a knight of Sufferlandria, a duchess of Sufferlandria. She's definitely well known. And here we are, Carrie Conabear with her setup. Things are going well, and she is spinning hard, trying to get that set up perfectly. Now, these women are chasing it out here at the very beginning, and this is the right location. It's amazing. Zambrano has done a fabulous job over the last bit to try and pull back her fitness to get back in this group. All right. Men's field starting to heat up. Here's what we've got going on right now. That would be Casey Shum and Kim Little animating it off the front. Looking over the back shoulder, you might be able to see Casey Shum. Well, these folks try to chase on, but it'll be a long, thin line at this point. Morton Vang, unfortunately, on the receiving end of some punishment. He was bad, evidently, got blamed for leaving the trash out, and the dogs got into it. Morton Vang is about 3 seconds off the back, and he's got to fight himself back into this. Baird and Looker trying to catch on, and they will. This is not a move of note. There's Liam Baird seeing it from his angle. The low latency puts him right in the same spot of the course, which is fabulous. Liam with his live webcam, you see him in his bike room, hunched over, and he is going to hit this hill and dig. Attaboy, Liam. Good job. Get up that hill. Power of Bicycles, WBR. He likes to out his team. Now, he is part of the Race WBR team, which is the select group of WBR riders. You might think, hey, don't I have a WBR jersey? Aren't I part of that somehow? Yes, but there is a select group of riders, and Baird is one of those. He is not surrounded by too many folks today. There's Jeff Muse. We mentioned him before. He is set up, ready to go, and kicking it. Looking good for our guy, Jeff. He's in a great spot in the points. Definitely is going to be there when things start to get cray-cray up on the hill. Lars Peikenbrink also in that group. And Morton Vang, who we mentioned, the lone KRT rider at the front of this, at the tip of the sword. He is trying to get himself a result. And he's shown up every week. This can be kind of frustrating for riders like Morton Vang. Or even Jeff Muse, who is not necessarily attached to a team, to have folks like Team Experimental impose their will. And by impose their will, right, we mean if one of them is deciding to attack, you can't try to do the math, carry the one, and figure out, is that a rider in contention? You just have to chase. But the teams know. Casey Shum checking out his Twitter feed. It's blowing up, as it were. Things are going well for our guy Casey, or he could just be looking up some products on Amazon. Maybe he needs some suspension hose to get those legs more comfortable. Maybe he's looking for a little bit a pencil that'll help fill in that mustache just a little bit. Yep, there's some good product for our guy Casey. He is a super strong racer, and I would not be saying any of this if he was in the room. A little worried. He's probably going to make it in one form or fashion to the big race in Vancouver. We'll talk about more some of those things. Here are the folks you got to pay attention to. Kim, Morton, Liam, Michael, Lars, Jeff, Matt, Kaj, Soren. I mentioned, I think, all those. We got a couple of Matts in the group. That helps things out. This is the Grupo Compacto. They are about to get serious on this hill up here. They're going to kick this just around the corner here. They're going to go across this bridge. This is one of the cooler bridges that I didn't get to see when I was in London right there, but it is a super cool location. They're going to come right around the corner to the left, slide down into that underground tunnel, and make it happen. All right, back on board with the women's field. That's what you noticed. Love that top view. Such a great view. Now, we're on board with Ana Barbato right now. We've talked about her, the Spanish rider. There she is. I love it. All the creativity. You know what? There is a really cool part of this. And that would be, of course, the superimposed PTZ cyclist over on the right side of your screen. But there's Ana Barbato on her bike, super strong rider. She is live. Here we are on board with Whiteman, the PTZ rider, on one of her teammates. So Barbato and Whiteman, teammates in this race today, doing a nice job. She's definitely got, you know what? I think everybody is working on the Akibe shuffle right now. Her heart rate is pretty high. She may be hanging on there, but you get that side-to-side motion. Akibe is so funny. He brings up that the important thing to him was to try to maintain balance on that bike and get as much downforce as he can. So he actually invokes that wiggle. Out of the saddle right now is Whiteman, just trying to stay near the top of this group. And I can tell you, it is worth the extra heartbeats to get up the hill at the front of this group than it is to fall in the back, because gaps will open. You'll see it in just a second. These women are going to really, really struggle to do this. Now, if we were coming up and over this, we've got the men's race really starting to animate right now. When they hit the hill, you know who is going to come to the front and do a big chunk of work. That's right, Casey Shum. He is one of those guys. And Kim Little, who is drilling it on the front here. After a number of weeks of travel back and forth to the States from his home of London several times, he finds himself feeling a little bit better. He took last week off, a little necessary rest, and he is showing you why. My goodness, they're lining this thing out, and there is going to be wreckage. The guys who have to make this first climb up the hill, folks like Durr, folks like Lars Peikenbrink from Germany, folks like his teammate right there, Sportsfinner, which is not his real name. All right, back on board with the women's race. Keep you informed of what's going on in both places. But Sonia Whiteman doing her job to try and get that gap closed down. And she's probably going to be able to do it, but she's just put herself in that tough spot. We mentioned before, starting to list a little bit of hard to starboard there. Oh, good. She gets a good group around her. She can use that little aerodynamic advantage. She's got a teammate in there. But that thing blew up around the corner. Very, very cool. Okay, checking back in with the men's race. It's starting to animate there. We'll see if Whiteman hangs on in the women. And Casey Shum finds himself on the tail end of a long, thin line. Dubbing behind him. Baird, McCormick, and Durr behind him. Ray even further down, 7 seconds, getting dropped. My goodness, going down like a big kid on a teeter-totter. Not good for our guy Ray. All right, Peikenbrink drilling it up front there. Looker and Kim Little now more than 2 seconds ahead of his teammate. He is delivering the pain right here. 2 seconds is recoverable, right? You just got to start to match and make sure that you're holding serve. Whatever they're putting out in overall effort, you put out. Here we see it from the Jeff Muse point of view. I like to think of all things from the Jeff Muse point of view. But you start to see things breaking down all around him. Here's what they look like on the climb. Thorin Bay now off the front a little bit. Lars, Mort, Steve, and Kim chasing hard. That's an international crew right there. And then 13 seconds back, Liam, Taj, and Michael just chasing, trying to get back into the group there. This is where it gets tough. Liam Baird right there, the guy we mentioned before, he's got to survive this climb as fast as he can. He can put some things together and chase some dudes back. There's some guys ahead of him that are probably going to blow up. Is it Casey Shum? Hopefully not. Maybe Casey wore himself out by broadcasting earlier this morning. Maybe not. Okay. But as we get on board here with Jeff Muse, we see things from his point of view. And he's got to be a little bit disheartened by the things he sees on people's backs. Most specifically, Kim Little, just a little bit ahead of him, focusing right there. You'll notice he's got the Union Jack on his back. That means he is his country's champion. Oh, my goodness. I don't know what I am looking at, but I love it. Somehow, he has decided he is going to bring in his Snapchat filters. What are you doing, my brother? Now he is Kitty Cat Kim Little. Buddy, you just gave that to yourself. He's got ears. He's got the nose. He's got Nyan Cat behind him. He's got whiskers and a heart-shaped nose and as much eyeliner as I've ever seen on him. And I thought he only did this in the West End. But no, here it is, Kim Little doing his best kitty cat impression. He has raised the bar. If there aren't awards for streaming quality and innovation, there should be. I'm just going to say. We'll check in with our guy Frank here in a little bit. Okay, so Lars got himself a little bit of a group here. Casey Shum is only 4 seconds ahead. Casey has been dropped hard, but you know what? If you are Baird, McCormick, Dubbing, any of those guys, Liam, you got to catch on to him. He is your ticket back to that group. Yeah, it's 23, 24 seconds up to that next group, including Looker in that group. But you want Casey Shum in that group. He's the kind of guy who can pull you back. Jeff Muse hanging on to the tail of this group. He's got about 3 minutes of freshness in him still. He can get up to the top. You look at his biceps there. Normally you'd get mocked for biceps like that. But what it tells me is that he is lean. He's having a great season. He is thinned out. You want a cyclist with skinny arms. You want a cyclist who can raise his hand to ask a question and his wristwatch falls all the way to his shoulder. That's what you got to have there. Okay, back on board with Liam Baird. You see that they are closing this down. Casey Shum only 1 second up the road. These are different folks who are popping around, by the way, on CycleView. That's CVRWorldCup.com. And you can check in with any of these riders. All right, back on board with the women. We see Carrie Conabear just painfully 1 second off that group. That is crazy, crazy stuff. Asperheim right there, just in front of her, only a couple seconds, trying to get back on. Boy, that is a good one. That is a good one indeed. Now, as she catches here, she's going to do her darndest to stay closer to the front of that group. But you'll notice those yellow jerseys up front. Those are the jerseys of Team Fearless. We'll just call it burgundy. I'm going to need a ruling, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, on the color of the jersey that Carrie Conabear is wearing right now. Little kind of an orangish, pinkish stripe. I'm going to need color names. And don't say Twilight Periwinkle. I need like a primary color or some variant thereof. I know you can help me, audience. Okay, here we go. We are checking things out from the perspective of this lady right here. Yeah, it's Eva. She is Buckholz right there, hanging onto the wheel of Mary Wilkinson, who we mentioned before is pain personified. There's no one who can deliver the pain like Wilkinson. She is a slave master if you're on a bike and on her wheel. Look at Sonia Whiteman. She'll tell you how uncomfortable this is. She's not even watching the game anymore. She is just trying to hang on to that wheel a little bit longer. Anna Barbado surging a little bit. You're in a good spot, Sonia. Just keep tapping it out. There's Carrie Conabear trying to close down the distance to that next gap. It looks like these three Fearless riders are delivering it. They saw what they were able to do, the full team Vixen at CVR World Cup LA, the major. They were able to get Carrie Conabear the overall women's win. From not even making the elite final in the previous to winning the whole thing. It was done because she had teammates that were willing to sacrifice. Those teammates are exactly what Fearless wants to put together. All right, back on with Buckholz. Ava, we like you a lot. She is the German rider who is just on the tail of Wilkinson, the U.S. rider right there. She's in a great spot We call that an elevator. If you can catch that elevator to the top floor, you take it. Or you ride it as long as they'll let you go up before they open the door and ask you to get out. Get as high as you can. All right. She is pulling another one back. England Red heading the wrong direction. Maybe that's your elevator, England. Get on her tail. But she's doing 4 watts a kilo. England is doing 1.3. We see 4 meters. 5 meters. Look down the bottom of that screen. You can see the gap to England Red just below her name in blue. She is heading the wrong direction. Okay, she's going to try to, and by she, I mean Whiteman, get back on the tail of Ana Barbado. This is kind of her all or nothing moment. And she can see, you can see it on her face. She's trying to do more. She's trying to just get it out there. She knows she's right at the edge, and she just get a little bit closer. If she can get right on the wheel of Ankers and Barbado, she can do this. Multinational group. She's flying I believe that's the Czech flag right there. Almost positive. We'll get out our atlas and we'll figure it out. Carrie Conabear seeing that group go in the wrong direction. Her job now is gap management. Can she stay close enough to Scott Styler and Stats that she can catch on to the back of that group? Will they reincorporate Asperheim? They probably will. Those are all different things that these riders are keenly focused on accomplishing here. Carrie being the number one in our view right now. She's got to catch on to that group. This climb has not been her favorite. She is coming back and recovering. All right. The women now are in position to, well, you see where they're split out there. You've got 45 seconds now from the lead group, Mary and Ava, to Jillian, who really at this point should do everything she can to reconnect with Suzanne, Lindsay, and Carrie, because that is a formidable group. Angela a little bit further off the back. There are a couple of riders in here not represented in the overall, the telemetry, but that's okay. My goodness. The pain is real. Hardest video game ever. Hardest video game ever. Okay. Sonia trying to get back on and does. Hallelujah. Will we see the relief on her face catching on to these two riders? Guess what? If you can stay within a meter or two of any one of those wheels, if they're doing 3.1, I promise you, you can do 2.9. You can get 2 watts or 2.2 watts per kilo a little bit lower. Okay. The German rider, that would be Buchholz. They have a Buchholz right now. Headphones in. Maybe she's listening. Maybe she's not. Not sure. But she is. She's focused on just getting and gets herself to Wilkinson and finds herself in a great, great spot. Okay. Checking back in with Carrie. The men are on the descent. The women near the top. Carrie getting right on from Tweedy. That's the man himself, Stephen Tweed. Loving him some Carrie Conabear, his countryman, woman. You tell me, audience, how is it pronounced? Carrie Conabear not able to draw that back, but is holding that gap so that it doesn't get any bigger. They're doing a little bit more than she is, but she's got an opportunity when they hit the flat. If they ease up for just a little bit, she can kick it into the flat. Hair coming undone, working really hard there as Carrie always does. Okay, coming back over the top, Buchholz and Wilkinson, your leaders on the course. One of these women is going to get it. You know what? Buchholz looks really, really fresh here. Williamson, we're not seeing her view, but that is the kind of view you want to see from Williamson. Hitting that PR. Nice. And actually capturing the jersey. We don't see it on her back right now, but it just said she got the jersey. Keep calm and pedal hard. That's a British thing for sure. But we love to see it. Okay. Wilkinson doing a nice job of staying. It looks like about 1 minute and 20 seconds to the Bearden group, which is still chasing. They really should try to come back together and make something happen in that respect. Okay. As we check back in with the others who are in different spots on the course, we do know that the men are back in town together, and it has gotten much, much smaller. Very, very small, in fact. That is some scary stuff. They find themselves in a tough spot. And are doing that. Well, here we go. Lars Peikenbrink right there. Young fella right there. Credenza behind him. Is that a credenza? No, I think we would call that an armoire. You know what? We're not going to be concerned with what's in that other than probably quite a few jerseys because he's not wearing one right now. But we see things from his perspective. That's the Lars Peikenbrink perspective, the German rider. This is a popular zone, evening time, and different spots in Europe. We tend to see quite a few more European riders. We see a few German, we see some Swedish, some Swiss, Netherlands, and of course the UK. Morten Vang did make this group, and I think it's important to report on who we see making this connection. This is a much smaller group than we left with, but there are a lot of strong riders in this group. Surprised to see off the back is McCormick. Here is Kitty Boy Kim Little. You're not helping yourself out, my man. And for full disclosure, Kim, I absolutely love as a men's name. My son, for real, my oldest son is named Kim. Charles Kim. He goes by Kim. He's named after my father, also Charles Kim. You see the symmetry there? Sorry, not my name. So I love all the Kims I meet. But come on, brother. Come on. Those are ears, bro. And okay. And it's the eyeliner that gets me. Really. But of course, all those digitally added. Looking good though, nonetheless. Okay. Here we are with Jeff Muse, who is sitting in a good spot in this group. And I think in just a moment, we're going to look for an opportunity to bring in our guy, Frank, because these are starting to become really interesting dynamics here. Kim Little, because of his animation at the beginning of this race, separated himself from his strongest ally in Casey Shum. Casey, qualified and made it his way all the way to Los Angeles for the CVR World Cup Major in March. And he would like to get back and be able to race with, against, and even for his team experimental teammate, Kim Little, at the next one, which is coming up at the end of June. In fact, we can talk more about that announcement in just a second. So we find ourselves really in a spot where we want to see these guys be able to work together, and they can't necessarily, right? They can't, because Casey is in another spot on the course altogether, a full minute behind. All right, reloading the page here, we are seeing things. Ben Choulon, he is riding strong here. He's got his camera. He needs his points. He is shirtless, unless that we call that just a hair vest, whatever it is. You do your thing, Ben. You do your thing. He's racing out of. He's racing in zone for bracket B, and he's leading this charge in the B group, doing a nice job. Making sure that he gets his good work in for the day. But he's got quite a group here of folks that he's racing with in this men's B field. Ooh, coming up the hill here, Mark Lay also. That's his pain cam. And you can tell when he's in pain. He's got some live chat going there. You can tell when he's in pain because he's got that forehead down, his headphones on. Beats by Dre. Good job, my friend. Okay. Mark Szymanski, with his pain cam as well. You'll notice a little bit difference in style. Many folks are starting to put these things together and show them in different ways. Mike coming along, getting his camera in the group. He's sending hella hard on a Neo is what one of his guys said. And there was some laughter in the form of text. Patrick Flickert right there getting his, he's got his game station behind him. He's got his chill bachelor bed behind him, even there, and he's pumping out the watts coming through the tunnel here, trying to catch on to a few of these riders, including Anderson and Carr, who are just about a minute up the road, trying to, he'd be good right here to catch on with somebody else. About this point in the race, it's nice for riders to be able to hold their gap, and maybe they can hang on to it and keep it going, but it can get quite tricky. Mark Lay right there, doing a nice job. Okay, checking around the group here. We'll check in with the women right about now. And who do we have? Gemma Onkers descending the hill, getting in with Anna Barbado right there. We mentioned before that was the group that Carrie Conaber was trying to outrun a little bit. And she is up front there a little bit. And that Sonia Whiteman, who was painfully close at 6 seconds at one point, was trying to get into that position, but was unable to do it. Anna Barbado and of course Gemma Onkers riding together in this position right now. Now this is a strong trail here with of course Lindsay. in that group. Nice job on the setup. That is great to see there. Okay, these women doing different work in different places on the course, but the work is no less meaningful than the work to try to stay with the person you are with and maybe pull back one more. I've been off the back in plenty of real life races and virtual races. And one of the greatest things you can do, at first, of course, there's disappointment. I got separated from the group. But then there is the camaraderie that comes from, as we talked about last week, sled dogging, right? Which is getting a group together and mushing, right? Getting on the back of that group, and a little more, short turns on the front. Do 3 seconds to rotate off. Okay, let's take 20 seconds, but don't go too hard. Don't pull through too hard. Okay, pull through harder, right? You're like telling everybody what to do. There's Rachel Ruby Zambrano. Ruby is with a nice group, including Carrie Conabear, who is gapped there a little bit, but it's not that much further up the road to that next group. 20 seconds. This is where Carrie and a thoughtful group of racers can really pull some things back. And that's exactly what I think that they're going to try to do. Very, very good. Now, she'd be super smart. You notice she's wearing her Peaks Coaching Group jersey. Well, in this case, sleeveless jersey in real life and in real game. They do that. That's pretty cool. There are some jerseys that cross over into both places. Okay, on board with Ava Buchholz again. They have put a sizable gap on the next group, which includes Bearden and Holmsen, the Fearless Riders. They are working together to try to pull them back. They've got about 20 plus seconds on the Freeburg group. But all right, jumping back on board with the men, things are about to get a little bit wild. Here we go. They're going to hit the bottom of this hill shortly, right? They're coming across the bridge here from Lars's view. They're going to put themselves into the tunnel momentarily, and we'll jump in with them. And then they're going to come out and hit that hill. As they come down that unique, it's great that they were able to get all that plywood out there, but to actually drop out onto the tracks and ride that plywood along the tube to come out almost miraculously on the other side. There is Kim Little looking pretty. You go, girl. He's got his Nan Cat in the background, and he was the strongest rider on this climb last time. I don't think he got the jersey. It's a harder one to catch on one of these longer ones. If it's a shorter climb like the hill on Watopia, if you're with a race group, you can often take that KOM whenever you come through as a group. You're just much faster as a group. Kim wipes his towel off and his makeup, and then immediately it's digitally placed back on. Impressive. This is a very Ready Player One kind of moment. He's got his, he's a furry. Kim Little is now a furry. But as they hit the base of this hill, things are going to get even more serious. Somebody is going to move to the front. Somebody is really on the rivet there. Oh, you look at Jeff Muse's face, and that is not calm. That is attentiveness, right? On the scale of moods of Jeff Muse, right? This is contemplative. This is somber, right? Maybe even forlorn. There you go. Those are your vocab words for the week. That is what is about to happen for our guy right now. He's going to hit this hill and go a little bit nuts. There it is, the big attack at the front. Kim Little doing his thing, drilling it. Very, very impressive. He decides he's going to jump off the front of this thing and do everything in his power to get up that hill, and he's about to do it. Who's going to come with him? Matt Looker, who was actually gapped off the back with Lars Peikenbrink, managed to pull that back. Morton Vang, all just kind of being attentive. But you see early on in these attacks who is not in the right position and who may not have the legs to make that climb. The watts are still high for Povels and Muse, but they are on the wrong side of +2, right? They are finding themselves off the back a little bit. Soren Bay, Team Experimental teammate of Kim Little, trying to climb back onto this group. It looks like he's going to be able to do it. And as we look at the Lars Peikenbrink position, this is how it went down. Kaboom, a few moments ago. And he got on the wheel of Matt Looker and found himself back in. There is Steve Young coming back to the group. No relationship to Young MC. which you know his hits from the late 80s. But Jeff Muse is just dangling off the back here. A very calm look on his face. He knows what he's putting out. He's looking at those numbers. I think he's doing the math. Jeff's doing some math right now, figuring out exactly what it takes to hold that group at bay. He's looking at those gaps. He's got a big TV in front of him, and he's glancing over at those watts per kilo, the number below the name, and he's just trying to make sure that he's holding right there. What he really needs is for things to kind of fall apart at the front of that thing and for people to ease up a little bit. But unfortunately, it's heading in the wrong direction. He may be thinking points at this point. He's not going to be able to catch it. There are the gaps as we see them. Soren Bay and Kim Little, Team Experimental folks, drilling it. They're leading that group. We've got, of course, one from Norway and one from the UK for Team X. Here is where things are for the women. You see them spread out along the course and clearly at the lead with a minute 12 seconds now. Mary and Ava leading the group of Jillian, who has left Suzanne behind. She said, I've got to try to catch them on this chunk if I can. Carrie Conabear even further back, but she's got a good group to work with, including Zambrano, who's made a great return. Anna Barbado, Gemma Onkers also chasing. Sonia Whiteman may not be able to catch on to them 48, 49 seconds, but maybe this is her spot on the flat. If she can keep tapping it out and they try to take turns at the front but don't put out the power. Back to the men, Lars Peikenbrink trying to hang on to this group. This may be too little too late for him. Soren Bay, Kim Little drilling it on the front. Little 1-2 business. Soren Bay doing 7 watts per kilo. Kim Little doing 4. This is a big major move. Okay, now Morten Vang doing a nice job also of trying to catch on and stay with that group. They are clustered right there. We got a dropout. We'll see who that is in just a second. Might be the famous Frank Garcia riding up that hill. But Looker, Little, Young, they're all right there. There is Kim, and things have gone dark behind him. Okay, Yan Cat returns to his side to fuel him with rainbow-powered Pop-Tart Kitty energy, and it's rubbing off. He's got the ears and the whiskers to show for it. Are you tuning in just now? Is this the first time you've watched CVR World Cup League? What is this, you ask? It is the hardest video game you have ever seen. These are real cyclists on real bikes. Kim Little finding himself on the wrong spot as Soren Bay shows new power up this hill, and he's just looking for the right wheel to follow at this point. His mascara is starting to run. His whiskers starting to droop. It's not good. It's not good for our guy. Okay, he's gonna try to get out of the saddle and close that down. This may be the longest, toughest section of this hill for Kim Little for any of these riders, and it is crazy tough. Here's where they are spread out on the course. You see Soren Bay now with 5 seconds on the group of Morten Vang, Steve Young, Matt Looker, and Kim Little. And the washing machine, those guys flipping around those different spots, 2 through 5, tells you that no one has the real lead on this. They're trying to decide who's going to do the work, who's going to get to the front. Lars Peikenbrink nursing a 12, 11-second lead there. He's just trying to get back onto that group. You know what? I hate to tell you this, Lars, but you've got to do it on this climb, and you've got to do it without Jeff as your compatriot. It's now or never. And if they drop down to about 4.5 watts per kilo, we know you've got 5 in the tank. You've got to drill it to the top. But as these guys come closer and closer to the top, in fact, Soren Bay rounding the corner up there, they're going to find themselves. There he is. Jeff Muse, we called his name early on in the day. He's been dropped by Kurt Pavels, going in the wrong direction. They're trying to catch Peikenbrink, who also separated from that group. These 3 may actually come together here shortly, which would be the best thing that can happen to all 3. Okay, Morten Vang coming up and over the top right now. He is in the clear lead. Peikenbrink also in a position where he's about to come through the banner, and he is in a tough spot. Oh, the pain. You can see it on his face right there. Very, very good. Okay, Kim Little, just again, spinning hard, pumping hard, trying to get back onto the wheel of Steve Young, who might be the solution to catching Soren Bay. In fact, here is my prediction. Soren Bay is going to start that descent a little bit faster than everybody else. I think that gap is going to be at about 20 seconds. About 20 seconds when all is said and done here. But I think the four of those riders, if they're together, are going to descend about 20 seconds faster than Soren Bay. It shows 7 seconds right now. That's going to grow because his speed is much higher. They come over the top here. You got to drill it, boys. Don't ease up yet. Don't ease up. They can see him. He's right up there. Kim Little doesn't have any desire to chase back his teammate. He'd rather have his teammate have the points. He's got to beat these guys. He's going to go into rest mode here. But what happens next is the aerodynamic effect of a big group of people descending downhill. That's what's going to happen. I believe, as I said it before, thank you, social media, for reminding me of the ridiculous things that I say, is that, Nyan Cat, where are you? Don't leave us. Come back, rainbow-powered kitty, you Pop-Tart of love. All right, they're drilling it downhill. There's the Pop-Tart of love. What's going to happen here is that those guys are going to drop like a big kid on a seesaw. There it is. That's the one you wanted to hear. Preichenbrink, and unfortunately alone, he's going to have the same problem as Soren Bay. He's 49 seconds behind Soren Bay. Those other guys, Steve Young, Vang, Kim Little, and Matt Looker, are descending much quicker. There they are, right? This is what we saw from the Pop-Tart Kitty of Love right before they came over the top. This is Kim Little's view of things, instant replay of sorts. He is out of the saddle doing hard work trying to catch on with Young, and they catch him just as they come over this little riser before the big descent. But Kim Little and that group was just about 20 seconds behind Soren Bay. And as we look at it right now, check it out. Only 7 seconds behind Soren Bay. Soren Bay is putting out zero effort right there. These guys putting out minimal effort. And there he is. They've got a rope on him, and they are going hand over hand over hand, pulling him back, and that's going to rejoin the group. Back on the women's side of things with the climb. Here we are, Buchholz and Wilkinson hitting the climb proper now. The shadows are starting to get long. Things are starting to relax. This is our last time up this powerful climb, and these women are going to give us a big, fantastic finish. Now, as these women continue to push back, they're going to grow this gap a little bit. Although you've got a collection of 4 riders that, if they can stay together, are going to do some really cool things. Now, Morten Vang and everyone of that quartet has caught Soren Bay as they come down the hill. Jeff and Lars are together on the women's side. Almost 2 minutes back to Jillian. She was unable to close that distance on the climb. And there are 7.3 kilometers to go to the finish here. There they are, Eva Buchholz. She is the stronger sprinter of the two. Wilkinson's only hope here is to separate the younger Buchholz off the back. And she can do it. You can see the look on her face. That is not the same confidence we saw before. Carrie Conaber settling in nicely into this group, trying to collect as many points as she can. Holy buckets, Ruby. You are having the ride of the season right now. She was a strong road to recovery here from injury and illness, and she is climbing back in the saddle, literally and figuratively, and showing why she has been an invitee in person to CVR World Cup events before. Here is Buchholz. I believe down below her, that is a little bit of her social media stream, giving love to her peeps. That's just fine. But really, the love that she needs to give right now is to her legs, which have not yet given out. This corner is a really tricky one. Wilkinson knows how to race. She's been doing it. She'll put in a leg here, and she does, trying to soften up the legs of Buchholz. That is a gap greater. Yeah. Schliebe der Luke. That means close the gap, right? I love seeing the German words on there. There's a little close the gap in British English. We'll show it to you in American a little bit later. But Carrie Conaber trying to stay there with her teammate, Styler. All right. The darkness encloses Nyan Cat. Kim Little with the pain staying in this group. This is a group of 5. And he is going to need all of the rainbow powers to be able to out sprint these guys. He's a fantastic sprinter. but some big power here. Oh, huge attack off the front by Morton Vang. Heard his name called early. The KRT rider wants a little taste of this. He goes hard right here, trying to make things happen. Kim Little watching, knows how to do this. Is that a real attack over the top? Not much left in the legs. Morton Vang kicks it into high gear. Kim Little put his energy down as he was coming around. Soren Bay going to close this down. Overhead, we see Soren Bay closing that gap down. He's going to catch the draft. About here is going to be able to slingshot. But Matt Looker attacks over the top. Is this a leapfrog? It's evil leapfrog. Here goes Kim Little trying to catch on. They're emptying their tanks at this point. No longer is this strategic. This is, I've got only 200 meters to go. I'm going to put everything I have left in this system and see what I can get out of it. Steve Young, still a chance to catch our guy. Kim Little may come around him at the end. Could be a three-way tie, but is it? Boom. Matt Looker, first place. This is the way I see it, followed by Steve Young, who passed Kim Little for that third spot. Here is the way that it looks. Will the kitty power work for Kim Little? The Pop-Tart infused madness about to begin. That's right. Vang was the original instigator. Matt Looker with the counterattack over the top. We see our guy Kim Little drilling it. He's out of the saddle in real life. He's out of the saddle in the virtual world. He's trying to Ready Player One delete this guy from the game and take his coins. He realizes he can't come around him at the end, but is he aware? Glances over. He's got to think, oh, no, not Young. Oh, he gave up about 2 pedal strokes too early. Now, Young is a little bit further behind in the points. All right, jumping back on board with the women. That's the way it's shaped up for the men's podium. Here we have Ava Buchholz, who's now been dropped by Wilkinson. Not sure how that went down. We'll be able to go back and take a look at it, the meaningful moments, here in just a bit. She just rode away. We saw the broken look on Buchholz's face a little bit earlier. And we just knew that she was on the edge. She's got a smile about her. Be careful, Ruby. Don't bump your head on that bar. She's just tapping it out. Nice, comfortable pace, trying to stay with Conabear. But Conabear has really decided she's going to do what she can. She missed her move to the front of that group, but she shows why she's so strong with this second group. Carry out of the saddle, trying to create even more gap between her and the other folks like Lindsley, like Zambrano, and Barbado and the others. She's going to try to get to the top of this hill, descend faster, and then out sprint anybody. There are a few in front of her that she's got to pay close attention to. Bearden, Holmes, Friedberg, right? Asperheim, Stotts, and of course Scott. All of those riders just a little bit ahead of her. Now she's caught Scott. There's her teammate, Styler. They're going to come around together. She's got to catch that wheel, just spin those suckers up, get a few temporary watts right there, right? Just spin them up a little bit quicker. Sometimes just a little bit greater cadence can give you that power. Sometimes actually standing doesn't give you any more power. It actually causes it to drop a little bit, spinning those legs. And it is all city-states along the way. What do we have? We have Sparta. We have Thebes. We have, okay. We'll go back to the lesson a little bit later, but we have Mary, 16 seconds off of Ava at the front. Ava Buchholz still more than 2.5 minutes, almost 3, against Jillian Bearden, who came in really high in the point standings. Suzanne, who we mentioned just a little bit earlier, is in that great second position. Here is Carrie, bent over the bars in great pain, trying to hang on to her teammate who is long gone. So hanging on to her is Lindsley, who is about to pass her, and that's the wheel you got to get on. Ooh, a little bit of a kick by Lindsley. Is she trying to get around her here? Maybe so, maybe not. Hard to tell. Okay. Styler, moving away now at this point. I think she just said, sister, you got to go without me, said Conabear. I'm just not in the right spot. A lot of these riders doing what they need to do to be able to be fit for these, to be rested, to be warmed up. But you get to a point in this where you've been all out exertion and someone's going to have more in the tank than you do. Long, slow cadence here by Zambrano, just doing her climbing thing. She is a very slight rider with very powerful legs. And this is a very unheard of, 45 to 50 cadence. Wow, that is some low, painful kind of stuff right there. I can't do that, but she's got that deep mash. I got to spin it out. Heart rate lower because of it. Maybe this is a reaction to an accelerated heart rate. 182 is nothing to scoff at. That is dang high. But she pulls back yet another. And Conabear just a little bit further up the road, only 4 or 5 seconds. She may catch her before the end. Although Conabear with a very different approach here, like, I guess not much different. She's out of the saddle, just trying to tap out this tempo to get herself to the top. But she's probably not going to catch her teammate Styler here, unless, follow me here. Here's my conspiracy theory to the end. This is why you watch to the end, to find out if it can be done. Carrie Conabear, I'm sending you like Aquaman 1970s thoughts, that you understand this. Connect with Zambrano, connect with Inslee, and get that group to descend with you, because you will catch Styler. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe she's your teammate. Everyone else should try to put that super group together. I mean, it's not Avengers level super group. It's probably kind of modern DC comic level super group, right? It's like, oh, these people all kind of do special things, except for the one rich guy. He just owns special things. But he's got a heart of gold. Let's just point that, or heart of black. He's the Batman. Anyway, but they really need to assemble this group. And Descenders, that's what it is. Descenders assemble. That's what they need to do to be able to get this thing to work together. They need all of that. Okay, Whiteman has lost contact with Onkers and Barbado much earlier. Onkers now, Gemma, unfortunately, unable to catch on with Barbado. Now, Sonia Whiteman, the PTZ rider. There's Anna she's got tunnel vision all the time, apparently, with her Team PTZ kit on. She is trying to chase this down. And prevent Gemma from chasing on. This is how she wants to do it. Okay. Mary is probably going to come away with the big finish here. She's coming to the big finish, and this is where all crazy cool things are happening. She's got about 15, 16 seconds. As we check in with Ava as well, she is doing well, doing strong stuff. But she's just a hair behind now, about 20 seconds. Although this being the flat, she may decide she wants to try to create a little bit of magic here. She's not doing the turns that she needs to make that happen. There you see it, the Tower Bridge just on the other side of Wilkinson. She is tapping out a finishing pace. She's not going to get caught. Ava does ramp up, but it's 30 seconds. She's got to do at least 30 seconds. Let me do the math and take off a shoe, carry the one. She's got to do about 2 watts per kilo higher than Wilkinson to even have a hope of catching her. I mean, she's not going to do it. She's going to be content with her points. She did stream today. She gets 5 bonus, which will make the difference between this first and second place. And so Wilkinson is going to come away with the win here. She's going to have a big chunk of points here. But Buchholz is going to be in a great spot. Oh, almost locking up these legs. She may be on a fixie today. Not sure what's going on with our girl, but she's doing over 200 watts. Maybe there's some kind of big, crazy workout that she's doing. And so Brano catches Conabear, and they're going to descend together. Conabear and Zambrano are going to have a chance to catch Styler, who looks to be about 30 seconds ahead of them, maybe 20. It is 20. And she's going to be able to catch her. Wilkinson across first is going to take the banner today. That is a big, beautiful finish for the women's ride. Wilkinson, she is streaming today. It's just not coming through as clearly. There she is talking to her peeps. Eva Buchholz saying hi to everybody, putting a little something on the Insta face or the face tube or the U face. I don't know what the kids are using these days, but she's on it and she's using it. So she's finishing up her ride. No one is going to catch her. Bearden almost 4 seconds back. And I think we know how a lot of this is going to finish. This is the descending group. They end up with Inslee back with them. There is a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance, said Lloyd Christmas. There is a chance that these three riders could actually pull back Styler. I don't think Conaber is going to allow that to happen. But again, as we saw, when you assemble the descenders, you can do great things. They just descend faster than everybody else. Styler is the teammate of Carrie Conaber right there, and she's just tapping out a good pace. Maybe what Carrie is thinking about here is, how can I reserve a little bit of energy for this big sprint finish? But I'll tell you, as great a work as Zambrano has done all day, I would be shocked if she didn't come out with a big kick of a victory here at the end. That is, I think, what is entirely possible for her. Okay, now what's going to happen next is interesting. Zambrano, they're about, I would say, 3 minutes from the finish. And you know what? We're gonna stay right here. We're gonna give you this big sprint finish. You're invested. Thanks for sticking around. One of these three women is actually gonna make a huge jump in the points. Inslee has been knocking at the door for quite some time. This may be her moment, frankly. This may be her opportunity to steal some of these points back from Carrie Conaber, especially if she comes across that finish first. It could happen. Follow me here. Okay, here's what I want to offer you up here. I want to give you just a sense of where things are sitting on the CycleView app, which you can check out anytime you want, cycleview.cvr.worldcup.com.org.ed. Okay, all those are not true, but you can check out any of the riders that you want over there. But it has two fabulous links that you need to check out. It has the, of course, Cheer for Your Favorite Rider link, which you can actually donate to the prize pool, and your rider sees it pop across their screen that you're supporting them. And of course, you can see the live standings. Here's what we've got in the women's field right now as it relates to points. Mary Wilkinson is going to come across first, and she's going to, because she gets a few extra streaming points, is going to get that 101.5 or 1,001.5 in the overall points today based on the way. Ava Buchholz coming in that second position is going to end up with another 1,000. That is going to put her in a great spot. Oh, by the way, those are their average points, right? But the real opportunity for growth here, we're always looking for growth opportunities, aren't we? The real opportunity for growth here is going to come with, in this women's A field, Mary Wilkinson to actually leapfrog over Ava Buchholz. Jillian Bearden, with more races in her collection than anybody else, is sitting overall third in this race right now. Now, these women did go away from her, but she gets great points, right? 992.8 total overall points out of 1,000. Very little difference. Okay. Carrie finding herself, unfortunately, 3 seconds now off of Styler. That would be Inslee, that bridged up a moment ago. Very, very exciting, big, powerful move. There we are. This is what we see coming into this final stretch here. Zambrano wanting to kick it up just a little bit. She definitely would like to have a result. This is her comeback tour. Frankly, it's earlier than expected with the illnesses, but she is climbing back in the saddle very quickly. She is the emotional leader of her team, and people just love her. Okay, now, and in this women's community, let's be straight here. Here is how it's going to go. Styler, and here's who we see right now, and Inslee looking to take over this next spot, and there are points at stake here. There is pride at stake here. This is PTZ versus Team Velocity Vixen. 200 meters to go. It is a game of flinch. Who's going to flinch first? Who's going to slap the hand of the other? It is Styler who's in the best position. She's going to ramp this thing up. A little bit of a delay on the response from the rider she's racing. Inslee tries to kick it in, but it's a little bit too late. She comes across first. Styler takes that next spot. Checking in with Zambrano. She is in a great spot to sprint this out with Carrie Conaber. Wow. Two of my favorite riders working in the same spot of the course. But Zambrano, with a 3-meter gap behind Carrie Conaber, not doing as much as she needs to. She needs that slipstream. When they hit this 200 meter, and then they're going to drop down a little bit. That's when you pass. That's when you do like 100 watts more than the other person, and you slingshot right by them, this little dip right here. But she's in the wrong position to be able to do it. She's just pushing as hard as she can, but Carrie Conabear is going to be able to come across before her, and that is how they finish. Doesn't look like a huge block of effort. They're just going to be content to spin across together. Sorry, I build up this great sprint finish, and these two riders were like, you know what? We're happy where we are. Okay, quick recap of the finishing order, which you can check out at cycleview.cvrworldcup.com. Great job to our friend Rachel Ruby Zambrano. She puts on her hat, chills over the bars, and says, thank you, great race. Okay, in the men's bracket, here's what we got. Here's the big styler finish right now. This is the finish we saw just a moment ago. This is instant replay, and she came around her at the very end. Big, powerful finish. Nice job, Lindsay Styler. Very, very good work. Okay, Matt Looker sprints for the win, comes across first. Steve Young second, Kim Little in third. Morton Bang, who we called at the top of the show, comes in that fourth position. This was the sprint by Rachel Ruby Zambrano and of course, Carrie Conabear. They are very friendly with one another, and you can see that because there was no real kick at the end right here. The men's field finished strong, the women's field as well. Mary Wilkinson getting away, Ava Buchholz chasing across the line, about 20 seconds behind Jillian Bearden, another minute back. So, or actually two. Lindsay Styler in fourth position overall, Anna Barbado, fifth, Sonia Whiteman, sixth, Angela Mann in that seventh position. In the B group, it looks like Carrie Conabear may have in fact been racing for one of her teammates today, as she just show up strictly on the rider board. Yes, slight change in her name. That'll get adjusted. That'll probably put her in fifth position overall over Anna Barbado. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. This was the E zone of the CVR World Cup League. I have been Chris Haskell. I'm not sure who I'll be next time we come back, but in 2 short hours, we have another one of these races, Zone F, as riders from all over the world compete for a chance to make it to the CVR World Cup event, live event, face to face, or actually the way they're lined up, face to back.